Council members. My name is Julie Diaz. I am Political Director with SEIU 32BJ, and I'm here, if I may, to read a statement on behalf of our Vice President and State Director, Kevin Brown. SEIU 32BJ is a property service workers union with 142,000 members, 10,000 members in New Jersey alone. Among our members, there are cleaners at Fairleigh Dickinson University and cafeterias at Teaneck Public Schools. I'm here to speak about AvalonBay Communities, the company that has requested re-examination and possible amendment of the town's master plan to accommodate a 4-story apartment complex at the World of Wings site. In seeking a master plan amendment, AvalonBay is essentially asking the township for special treatment. Unfortunately, this is not a company that deserves such special treatment. As I will explain, AvalonBay has a long history of safety violations, hiring law-breaking contractors, and aggressively pursuing tax appeals. According to the press reports, the recent fire at the AvalonBay complex in Edgewater was started by AvalonBay maintenance workers who never called 911, thus giving the fire time to spread rapidly throughout the building's lightweight construction before firefighters could respond. Edgewater was not an isolated incident. There have been 6 major fires at AvalonBay buildings since 2000, when the Edgewater complex first burned down, destroying or damaging thousands of nearby homes. And state housing code officials have cited AvalonBay for over 1,000 fire safety violations at New Jersey apartment communities. Since 2005, OSHA has issued over 270 worker safety violations at AvalonBay construction projects to AvalonBay and its contractors. AvalonBay employs plant companies, a building service contractor with a record of wage theft and egregious labor law violations at buildings throughout New Jersey and New York. Finally, one of the ways the company cuts costs is, in its own words, quote, aggressively pursuing tax appeals, end quote. One example, in 2011, AvalonBay succeeded in reducing its tax assessments in Lawrence, New Jersey by over $10 million, contributing to significant budget problems in the township. Again, we don't believe that this developer deserves special treatment. There are important questions to be answered before the matter is referred to the planning board. For example, I'm sorry, I just have a few more.
Okay. 3 minutes, I'm sorry. Thank you.
I have statements here.
You can give it to the clerk. I'd like to move resolution L, M, N, and O for the purpose of discussion.
Sir.
Councilman Castle.
Yes, Mayor. Personally, I haven't made up my mind on AvalonBay, but I think that it's important that the public understand where in the process we are as it relates to this. There's no decision that would be made regarding AvalonBay based on these 4 resolutions. This is an instance where there would need to be a reevaluation of the master plan. There'd have to be a feasibility study that would be done. And we have a developer. Let's take AvalonBay off the name of of the developer. We have a developer who is looking at a particular site where they have a contract, and they are underwriting the cost to see if what they'd like to do there is feasible. I do not believe, personally, that we should prevent interested developers from underwriting the cost of feasibility studies. Because I think that by saying no to this, it kind of creates a message to other developers that we're not even open to hearing what their ideas are. So part of this process, we just earmarked $50,000 for Alfred Avenue to understand the feasibility of that community and that neighborhood. And here we have a developer, again, removing the name of the developer. They've decided to underwrite the cost of feasibility. We are not agreeing to do anything. The only thing that we are allowing to happen with these resolutions is allowing that developer to underwrite a feasibility study so they can then present that to our planning board. The planning board can then make their recommendation to the council, and the council can then make a decision as to whether or not this is a project that is right for the community. So I'm in favor of allowing developers to underwrite the cost of feasibility around our township properties, but we have many more steps before we decide as to whether or not this is the right project for Teaneck. But I would encourage those members of the public who are adamantly opposed to a developer to look at this in these resolutions and understand that we're not saying yes or no to anything. We're simply allowing them to take on the cost to tell us what is feasible in that area. And that's something that's going to save the taxpayers money. But the other reason I wanted to pull these 4 resolutions is because I'd like an understanding from our attorney as to why there are 2 resolutions that relate to price. If AvalonBay is paying them to do the feasibility study, why is there another professional services contract awarding to Price for the same address?
Mr. Murray, Mr. Price works for the township. He doesn't work for the developer. So one of these resolutions authorizes the agreement, and the other one is the actual award. But that's why we are awarding the contract to Mr. Price, and then there's a separate agreement with AvalonBay that they're funding that cost. That's the reason.
Okay, thank you. Just so it's clear, we are not committing to anything. We're simply allowing a developer to underwrite the cost of that feasibility study so that we can make a more informed decision as to whether or not this project is right for this municipality.
I just think one other thing.
I want to just add to that and say I'm going to be abstaining. As you noticed, just to be consistent with my previous action, I'll be abstaining from the entire consent agenda due to technical issues in the clerk's office. What I will add to that, though, is that while the action may not be binding the town on moving forward with any development, I know the attorney is present for AvalonBay. These are some serious allegations that the developer needs to be prepared to answer in the future. And I'll just leave it at that.
I just think we also should have the record. We're not doing anything special for AvalonBay. Any property owner or contract purchaser under the Municipal Land Use Act has the right to request a matter be referred to the planning board for these kind of investigations to take place. So we've done this on other pieces of property. We may be doing it on future pieces of property. It's not something being done because it's AvalonBay.
Mayor?
There'll be many, I'm sorry, there'll be many opportunities in front of this body as well as the planning board where the public can weigh in and give their position on the proposal.
Mayor, and I don't want to speak for you or any of our other colleagues, but I'm pretty certain, based on the presentation that was given, that many of us have a number of concerns about past AvalonBay projects and the safety measures that would be put into place for any particular project that we would even consider in Teaneck, not to mention the affordable housing element, and how we could fundamentally change maybe a development to make it not just safe for our community, but maybe even lead the charge in how they develop safer properties moving forward. So rest assured, there are going to be a lot of questions and a lot of conversations before any development is approved.
Can we have a roll?
I'll make a motion to pass resolutions L, M, N, and O.
Second.
Councilmember Castle?
Yes.
Councilmember Hamidine?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Kass?
Yes.
Councilmember Pruitt?
Yes.
Councilmember Schwartz?
Yes.
Councilmember Stone?
Yes.
Mayor?
Abstain.